Hello there and welcome back to another review. So today we're going to be having a look at Ringo Lam's Full Contact, made in 1992, which I have a copy of here, starring Chow Yun-fat and Simon Yam. Now, it's just occurred to me, I've not reviewed, and I mentioned before in my Moon Warriors review, like we're talking about Andy Lau movies, and I want to review more Andy Lau movies. Chow Yun-fat, I was thinking, is another one. I haven't really reviewed much Chow movies. I definitely haven't reviewed as many as I should. I haven't reviewed Hard Boiled. I haven't reviewed Tiger on the Beat, The Killer. There's loads of Chow Yun-fat movies I've yet to review. So I thought we'd have a look at some of the classics, from Chow Yun-fat's back catalogue and like a classic Ringo Lam movie, and have a look at Full Contact here today. Now, Ringo Lam's films were often labelled sometimes as sort of political in nature, or maybe having a message or agenda of some description, and not an obvious one, but some subtle hints here and there in his movies leaning towards a bit of a political commentary now and then. But this film is pretty much Ringo Lam just going balls out, right? This movie, Full Contact, is Ringo Lam just going balls to the wall. Let's go for style. Let's make it arcadey. Let's just basically have a bit of fun, is what Ringo Lam's doing with this one. The film didn't do all that well in Hong Kong, I think, largely because I think fans of Chow Yun-fat were not that interested in sort of seeing him play sort of a violent sort of gangster criminal. The film did much better and had more fans in the US and the UK. Now, when you have people like Chow Yun-fat and Simon Yam and Anthony Wong in your movie, that in a way makes it sort of good before you even got going, and all three here put in amazing performances. Simon Yam in particular is really having a blast here, and the two with Chow Yun-fat and Simon Yam, two amazing actors, but the two here in this really play off each other really well. As I say, everyone really does give their all. So, as I say, Simon Yam seems to be having an absolute blast in the movie. He's probably one of, I mean, whatever Simon Yam's in, he's really good. But I think in Full Contact as Judge, I think he really is probably one of his more memorable performances from Simon Yam. Now, what makes this movie so awesome, despite you could argue that the plot has largely been there, done that, what makes it so good is that everything, including our characters, are so over the top. And the film just has so much ultra-violent style going for it that you can't help but enjoy it. You can't help but have a good time with Full Contact. It's, it really is an amazing movie. And the fact that Simon Yam and Chow are just so effortlessly cool anyway, but here they both really do get to shine. And it's one of their movies, it's probably one of the best examples of Hong Kong sort of bloodshed, sort of action that was not directed by John Woo. I mean, like John Woo, if you say John Woo is sort of the gold standard, Ringo Lam, pretty much he can do it just as good as John Woo can in terms of action. I mean, in terms of, like I said, this film has so much style going for it. It really, as I say, it really does have so much style. You will notice watching this as well, just how fresh it feels compared to, especially at the time, to what other Hong Kong movies were doing, and at the very least, what one would come to expect of Hong Kong movies. This film just subverts all expectations. Like, we have a gay villain, we have Chow not doing his usual sort of suave, smooth character, but rather sort of a hard-nosed, rough and ready type. Top that off with like sort of an amazing action, a very 80s heavy metal sort of westernized soundtrack. If you know the band Extreme, you'll notice a couple of their songs in this movie, plus loads of violence, and you get a hell of a ride with Full Contact. It really, as I say, you do get a hell of a ride with this movie. And it was around this time that John Woo was making his move to Hollywood, going in on to direct Hard Target with Van Damme. But this is Ringo Lam showing that he can more than deliver the goods when it comes to action and edge of your seat violence. I mean, if you look at a film like, say, Wild Search, like I directed, that I reviewed quite a while ago now, still got Chow Yun-fat in it, still directed by Ringo Lam, or even City on Fire, but by Lam and both with Chow. Full Contact is this movie is on a different level compared to them movies in terms of style, pacing, characters, and action, and that's the kind of movie that it is. And it's so far and beyond in this movie, but like anything else Lam was doing. But even it was well in this movie. We even get bullet cam in this movie. Like, this is 1992. This is a Hong Kong movie. In this movie, they use a bullet cam technique, which no one else was doing at this time. And it's one of them movies. Full Contact. I've always felt It's the kind of movie Michael Bay watched before he made Bad Boys 2. It's that kind of movie. It's that kind of movie where I think Michael Bay, I swear he took quite a bit from Full Contact. We know the ending of Bad Boys 2 is basically a rip-off of the opening of Police Story 1. But I think Michael Bay saw something like Full Contact, or definitely has seen Full Contact at some point in his career, and he's like, I want to do sort of a Hollywood, that's the kind of action I want to do in my movies. But anyway, so we meet Simon Yam as Judge in this antique store wearing a super snazzy jacket. Very much, his character is very much like sort of Joker-esque type character. The fact he sort of develops like a sort of an infatuation with his enemy. The fact he can sort of, he's got like these tricks where he can sort of make smoke appear from his farm and a knife appear from sort of nowhere. He stabs an assistant in this store, and one of his accomplices, like Lao Gang, played by Bonnie Fu, holds up the customers with a gun, and they're after like this gold Buddha. So they make off them. You have to love how the opening credits, when it starts after this sort of mini robbery, are over Extremes, get the funk out. As I say, if you know the band Extreme, you know Betancourt, and if you know that band, I always found it when I watched this the first time, because that doesn't often happen. You don't hear like a Western band or an American band in a Hong Kong movie, or Western music. You don't usually hear that. So when you hear Get the Funk Out at the start of the movie, it's very, this is different. This is definitely different. And it's worth noting as well, another reason why the action is so good in this movie is that it was orchestrated and designed by Lau Kar-weng. Not a lot of people know that, but Lau Kar-weng he was in charge of the action with this movie, who, as I say, was in loads of Sammo Hung's, most notably The Odd Couple, and of course the brother of Lau Kar-leung. We meet Go Fei, played by Chow, who is like this hard-nails bouncer who goes to rescue his brother Sam, played by Anthony Wong, from these loan sharks who he owes money to. You can tell even the way he uses like his flip knife that this is going to be sort of an unapologetically violent movie before it's even got going, before even the violence has even started. Even when you see him with his flick knife, you know this is going to be a violent movie, right? Just the way it starts, even before it gets going. So no, as soon as he rescued him, and Loan Shark Hung is the guy who he's borrowed money from, his men come and storm the club where Chow works, and him, Sam and Mona, played by Anne Bridgewater, and this guy Chung, all go into hiding. And it's a simple setup, really simple setup. Like I say, Anthony Wong, Sam, he's borrowed money, the loan sharks come looking for them, and he's in debt, he's in over his head, and that's, again, the plot is, you could argue, yeah, we've seen it all before. It's by the numbers, we've seen it all before. It's a simple setup, but it shows that sometimes you can have the most predictable, been there, done that plot in the world, right? You could have the most, we've seen it all before, but if the execution is there and in the right director's hands, I've always maintained, you could, it can feel fresh. A good director can take a simple setup that we've seen time and time again and put his or her spin on it to make it seem fresh, to make it feel different, to make it seem unique. And in Full Contact, Ringo Lam does that in spades. He puts his stamp all over this completely. So we learn that Sam borrowed the money as he wanted to give their deceased mum a nice funeral. So in order to make money so they can flee, they go to team up with Yam's character. And it's amazing watching it recently, like I say, how westernized the film feels. But at the same time, how it really is one of them movies. You can't put a finger on Full Contact. It's sort of in its own entity. It's got its own thing going on. Like I say, it really has its own thing. So you wouldn't, like Judge Simon Yam's character's in league with Loan Shark Hung and tasked with getting like some military arms for cash, but he's ordered to kill Chow Yun-fat's character. So go figure. And he says goodbye to Mona, like Chow says goodbye to Mona as she leaves for Hong Kong. And this is one heartfelt goodbye. With this goodbye, when he says goodbye to her, it actually is believable. When he's saying goodbye to her, it actually seems genuine because it's quite a heartfelt, long goodbye. And you have to love how Psycho, like sort of Judge's big muscle, can't help stop fighting with Chung, played by Chris Lee Kin Sang. So Lao Gang is paired up with Go Fei, and after getting herself off, because she's just like always horny, right? Okay, she's just always randy. After getting herself off, they sort of hold up traffic, and she's sort of throws a grenade into a random car on the freeway. The whole idea is to get this truck of weapons, and it's one of them scenes where you can feel the humidity Like you can see how hot it looks. Chung gets shot in the face by Judge, and so this is all Sam's fault, right? And he is begging him why he wants, like, why does he want to kill Chow? Because Judge is sort of like, he's, even though they thought the job at hand was just to get these weapons, Simon Yan's been tasked with sort of taking Chow out. Like, it's all a setup, and this is what happens when you get in bed with the wrong dudes. Like, there's always ulterior motives. So Yan wants blood now, and so begins a car versus car, gun versus gun battle on the freeway, which is super, super well orchestrated and done. So after crashing his car, like, Faye and Judge get into a fight outside someone's house. What you get here, I know I've said it before, but Yam and Chow really do go above and beyond with their roles and performances here, and it's worth watching for that alone. You know, I'm one of these people, like, you can watch Simon Yam in anything because he's always good in it. If you've got Simon Yam in there, that's great. You know, if you've got Chow Yun Fat in there as well, that's even better. And like I say, and the two really, like I say, you watch it just for their performances alone. But say Simon Yam as Judge, really, really having a blast here. So you have to love, despite all this going on, Judge is like, I hate messing up my hair. So all Sam is doing at this point is crying as the cowardly slime ball he is. The kind of character that Anthony Wong, no offense, but he can play that role perfectly. Anthony Wong, amazing actor, as I say, but he fits in that Sam mold perfectly. So Judge sends him into the house where Faye's hiding to kill him. It's worth noting as well, there's like the cutest dog in the world here. Sam does actually shoot him. Yan blows the place up, as you know, there's gas tanks there. And it's just so cute that Go-Fei saves the dog, and you see him on the speedboat with him as he escapes, and he gets his wounds aided by this like monk. So basically, Go-Fei, like Chow's character, he's been stitched up. He's managed to escape. He's taken this dog with him, and he starts working out, as you know, payback is due. Cue the typical montage that you'd get in these kind of movies. So it's very sort of like, sometimes it borders on cheese, but it's not cheesy, but it could be in the wrong director's hands. But so we get a montage. So the film is actually largely in two halves. We have like the setup, and then we have sort of the revenge. We have sort of Chow Yun Fat's character getting stitched up. Then we have the bit where I say we sort of gets stronger, then he comes back to sort of get everything else. So I'd say the film is sort of in two halves. Sam has now like had a character change, and he's all hard and tough, and he's getting close with Chow's girl Mona. Faye confronts Sam at the swimming pool but spares him. Then we are at this club where Sam is all paranoid, and Mona doing some dancing on stage, as that is what you do when you aren't sure if the guy you love is dead or alive. And she's sort of with Sam at this point. And Go-Fei wants wants Sam to tell him where Judge's weapons and the arms are. The girl as well, as I say, gang her name is, like, the girl. She's all, like I say, she's always sexually frustrated. Like, she's, like I say, she's just always horny, it seems. Like, that is her main character trait, and she's like super annoyed with Psycho as he doesn't want it with her anymore. Mona meets Chow, and she is all upset. Then we have like an angry sex scene with Anthony Wong and Bonnie Foo's character in a car, I might add. And one thing Ringo Lam does in this movie, he keeps it classy. No, I'm just joking. I mean, you know, you got these two having sex in a car. Make no mistake. Ringo Lam does his best to keep it classy, but doesn't succeed for the most part. But that's the kind of movie this is. It is really sort of unapologetic in its nature. As I say, it's violent. It's got style. So you know, characters just want to get whatever they want by any means necessary. As I say, morals have gone out the window, and it is that kind of film. So it's worth noting that Simon Yam's character has all but disappeared at this point in the movie. So Sam and Faye go to get Judge's stuff, which is meant to be in some ice and very violent, of course, and the shootout ensues naturally, and they find arms on a boat. Faye meets Judge, and we get more extreme playing in the background here. Why Judge doesn't suspect it was Sam that done the dirty, as he is the only one not there, I have no idea. I don't know how we can't piece that one together, but anyway. So Faye tells Sam to pack his things, as things are going to get messy. Now, I can't stress enough, and I've said I've used this word a lot. I know I've used this word a lot, but it absolutely oozes style, this movie. And like I say, there's no other film quite like Full Contact. I know I've read reviews, and I've even spoke to people that don't actually like this film. And like, these are people that love Hong Kong action movies, and I've spoke to people that aren't the biggest fans of this movie in the world, and I think it's because, like I say, it has a simple plot, but it doesn't follow sort of the same beats as what you would expect a film of this type to follow. It does, Ringo Lam does mix it up, but like I say, the style of the film is just in your face. We've got the Western soundtrack, there's even sort of club culture running through it. Very westernized in its approach, as well as at the same time being very unique. So Mona is dancing again. It's all she seems to do. It all comes it all comes to a head in his club, sort of where Chow looks effortlessly cool with his cigarettes. I mean, I'm sorry, but when Chow Yun-fat smokes, he looks so cool. He just does, you know. He just makes it look awesome. And this is where we have like the bullet cam I was talking about. I mean, now bearing in mind this is no Hollywood production, but it's awesome because it comes out of nowhere. As I say, it's like the cameras. It's like the camera's on the end of the bullet and you're going with the bullet. I just call it sort of bullet cam. But I say this isn't Hollywood. This isn't Hollywood movie magic or anything like that. This is a Ringo Lam Hong Kong production. But I say just so inventive. I say you've never sort of seen any. I'd never seen anything like that up to this point when I first watched this movie. But I say just awesome stuff. Like the camera zooms and follows the bullet and one guy gets shot in the head. All the while we have like this lead guitar playing in the background. Sam gets shot by Judge and he's like in his magic hands. Judge blows like sort of Gang's brains out for sort of betraying him as she leaked info to Sam. And it's a shame the reconnection with Faye and Mona doesn't really come to or add too much, despite the fact they had such a heartfelt goodbye. Like sort of when they're reunited, there isn't much of a reunion as such. I think it's because like Chow Yun-fat's character, he's just got vengeance on the mind, and I think she just knows like sort of that relationship, that time has passed. You know, the time of their relationship. So it's not really the reconnection with them doesn't really amount to much. So Sam, Mona, and Faye have it all out about what happened in Thailand at the start of the movie. Mona dumps Sam. Well, you know, he did screw her over. You know, he did actually screw somebody else as well. You know, he screwed Chow over and then he cheated on her as well. So it's probably the least he deserved. And then she just kisses Faye and leaves. She just ups and goes. So Faye wants 10 million for Judge's arms. Psycho meets him to do the exchange. And he is like, if you want the merch, here you go. And just launches like a grenade. He kills Psycho whilst on a bike, while shooting and while smoking. So, I mean, talk about multitasking. Talk about, you know, doing loads of things at once. So Judge appears and shoots him in the hand, and Faye sort of blows up his merch, which I guess you just put in loads of sort of parked cars. And you have to love the lightning here and sort of the burning fire. Faye lands a bullet right on Judge's neck. Then the guitar comes in. Then we get flashbacks of the past and how his life was and what he lost. And it ends with Chow Yun-fat walking off with the cash, which for some reason Judge actually put in there. You know, sometimes with villains, if they don't want to, if there's a deal or an arms deal or a drug deal, sometimes if they're going to stitch the other guy over, they'll put just the top layer as money and the rest of it will be paper or like just blank notes, whatever it is. But in this, Simon Yam, as a Judge, as psychotic as he is, you know, he actually did bring along all the money for his arms, for his weapons and everything. So as I say, you know, what can you do? But, you know, I've whipped through the movie, but what a blast Full Contact is. It's an amazing movie. It's one of them movies, I think if you're into Hong Kong movies and you love your Chow Yun-fat movies, and this is definitely a must-see, because there's no other movie quite like Full Contact. I mean, I think nowadays we've sort of seen it all before. I think, you know, especially where Hollywood has taken so much. They didn't take much from Hong Kong movies, and now it seems everything they do, if there's action or fight choreography, it's all ripped from a Hong Kong movie. But as I say, where nowadays we've seen it all before, we see great fight scenes all the time, we see great choreography all the time, whatever. But I think, you know, for the time, 1992, bearing in mind what we'd seen from Ringo Lam up to this point, nothing else was quite like Full Contact, and it really should be appreciated for just like how unique of a film it is. As I say, great performances, great action, great style, and just like I say, loads of violence, great over the top performances, and it's easily, I think, up there. I mean, City on Fire is often lauded as Ringo Lam's best work, but I think Full Contact is him probably at his most creative, probably I think in a way or sort of having the most fun as a director. But I say with Chow Yun-fat, Simon Yam and Anthony Wong on board, you know you're going to have a great time with Full Contact. So thank you very much indeed for watching. Hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you again soon.
Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory.